Welcome back, everybody. Another short form video exclusive to YouTube, which is incredibly exciting here. Sorry, podcast listeners, but if you've migrated over to YouTube, please subscribe, like the video. We've got some breaking news in the last few days. North did a match sim, the first 4 20-minute quarter hit out that they've sort of had. And we got some good and we got some bad, which is, not great, but also some really exciting stuff. So Joel the Mole was down at Arden Street watching this little scratch match they did. Joel, we're going to get straight into this because we don't have time to waste. The biggest talking point, which we're going to get straight into, our man, the warlord, Georgie Wardlaw, seemed to limp off with a hamstring. Now, just from what I know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong because you were there, came off, came back on and tried to play, still felt some discomfort, so didn't play the rest of the game and ran some laps. That's what I've been told. What did you see down at the ground?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see him go off on his injury. I saw him, he played, the way they did it is they did 2 10-minute periods for each quarter. So they'd play 10 minutes, stop, have a quick little break, then get another 10 minutes. He played the first 3 of those periods, so he played 30 minutes. Fourth quarter, he didn't come back out, but he was running laps around the outside of the field. He seemed pretty, obviously they sent him in for scans. There hasn't been anything official from the club. The word on the street seems to be a hamstring and if he's ready for round 1. But then other people were suggesting as well around that he didn't seem too concerned when he was doing laps around the ground and that. I think if it was anyone else but Warlord, we probably wouldn't be too concerned, but given his history of hammies, it just adds a little extra. It's not what you want to be seeing at this time of the year. If he misses out on the practice, I'd love to see this guy just get a full preseason without, injury or such. Like last year at this time, it was 8 weeks or 10 weeks he was out for. So hopefully a bit better. I mean, it's not that this time. So let's hope that we see him round 1 and maybe, a little bit of back half of some of those, maybe practice game even. It seems like it's not too bad from all accounts. So not too bad. But then we've got our other friend as well that we're going to mention next, I think, as well, which is breaking news.
Yeah, well, look, Blake Threadgold as well, a Liz Frank injury. Now, I've done a little bit of 10-second research on a Liz Frank injury, and it's basically damage to the bone and the ligaments around the mid-foot area. They're saying sort of out medium term, which really doesn't give you an indication. We're talking months, obviously, but maybe not majority of a season. What do you know about this one, Joel? Did it happen in this game?
No, he wasn't playing this game at all. I haven't seen him at training for a little bit, so I wonder if there's something bubbling underneath the surface for a little while with him. As noted by a few people, you don't get to do any physicals on the players until they get there. There might have been something that was already brewing there, and it's just a case of getting his foot right. I mean, I'm not it's ideally you get all this development into them at this stage, obviously, as well. But, I'm fairly confident they'll be able to get him right. I think mid-year is probably what he'll be targeting, which is fairly vague, but I think it's probably 12 weeks is what the general consensus is. So maybe 8 weeks, 9 weeks into the season and getting his engine back up and going from there. So not a great news for him, but it's not season ending. It's not defining. It should be, recoverable. And then hopefully we can get back to, strength for him and really, take the second half of the year for him and, have a really good off season next year.
Yeah, I mean, look, 18 years old, first, obviously, AFL preseason after getting drafted. So it sucks that his first season, preseason has been hampered by injury. I was really excited to watch him in the VFL and see his development. And there's opportunity in the back line, mate. You never know. If he really played well at VFL level, you never know. He might get a game early on. Obviously not now. But we had Blake on the pod. When he got drafted, he's an absolutely ripping bloke. So thoughts out to Blake there. Just so sorry to hear that for him, to be honest, the young fella. But plenty of time left in his career, plenty of premierships to win with North in the back line. So Blake, if you're listening, it's going to be okay. We back you, and I'm excited to see him back at VFL level and hopefully just continue his development. And I'm sure we'll look back on this and be like, it is what it is. Touching on the Wardlaw one really quickly, I guess, my gut tells me it's probably not that much of an issue for round 1. I can't imagine if someone's running laps, it would be too serious. I'm hoping maybe a 2-3 week, be cautious thing, but maybe by Ballarat he could play the game or play half a game and, or sort of at 80% or something like that. So for his preseason, but, let's wait and see what the club says. But at this point, my gut's not telling me there's much doubt for round 1. But hey, maybe he's out for, half a season as well. Who knows? Which we're not condoning here. We're not condoning. Okay, so you watched this practice game that they played, Joel. One of the biggest things that I haven't heard heaps of hype about on the internet, and you pointed this out to me too, Bulls playing in the back line. Cam Zurhaar is now – Cooper Harvey's never getting a game, mate, if Cam Zurhaar's playing off half back. What's going on?
Yeah, it was the second half, and you see him walking back to, him and Larky high-fiving, and they're wearing different jumpers, and I'm looking at them and I'm like, what on earth is this? And just he moved to the back line for the second half. He didn't get as much exposure just because of the way that the ball was moving at that point of the game. But, he took a couple of nice intercept grabs and tackle here or there. That really sticks. So just an interesting one to watch in that position, I think. Like, I was curious about the attempt. I mean, this is when you can give it a go during the preseason. Just a really, really interesting look. I'm not sure what they were trying to achieve with it. But it's a good one to see, I think. So it'll be curious to see if that carries on into the season or if there's any, or any of the preseason games you see that potentially. So
yeah, I mean,
worth a watch. Didn't look terrible in it, but didn't get as much. Like, there wasn't huge exposure there, to be fair.
I'm trying to think why that maybe Clarkson would do that. I just don't know. What do you think the thought process behind that is? Because I can't imagine that they're actually going to trial a guy who kicked 40 goals last year and arguably a career best year. He's getting played off halfback. Now we're like the Chicago Bulls of the AFL, just all guards and no big men. What are we doing? Everyone's a halfback at North Melbourne.
Yeah, no, not really understanding that fully, but maybe it's just like a bit of versatility for him as well. I mean, you've seen, other teams where they will send their key forward to the back line to defend and potentially take those key marks in big moments. I mean, even Jeremy Cameron's done that in big moments, so maybe it's a bit of exposure in that kind of way. Maybe it's if Al Mack goes down, I've, been on record of saying this now that we've got no Thread Gold, no Archer. If one of those guys goes down, maybe it's a, pull in case of emergency lever. Because could be running shallow in that spot already. Like, I mean, we've got injuries in that spot now, 2 of them. Cooper Harvey's our next one off the rank, and then maybe Zurhaar now. But it is worth noting that. So it was a very fascinating thing. He didn't look out of place there, to be fair. I mean, like, he kicked 40 goals and had one of his best years last year. So I'd be a bit surprised if they moved him out of there. But maybe it could be team balance things for what we're thinking.
Yeah. No, look, fair enough. The Clarko's won 4 premierships. I've won none, except my under-14s premiership back in the day, mate. We won't keep bragging about that. It's been too many years. That's terrifying, nearly 20. Okay. What other training notes have you got? You mentioned before to me off air that your man, Matty Whitlock, was a superstar up forward. Is he going to win the Coleman?
Of course he's going to win the Coleman. No, I quite like Matt Whitlock. I think he's he's had a bit of a rough training patch like he's in, I think, in a few of the last few weeks, but he managed to snag 3 goals in this one. He took a really nice contested mark in the square on one of them, got a free kick on another, and just showing off his versatility, he crumbed one with one of those little bending along the ground goals where he managed to grab it below his knees and sort of, really he's a versatile person for his size. He's able to do a lot of different things and was able to get a goal from that situation, which is great to see. I really am hoping that we see more of that from him next year. Just he's got different mechanisms to goal, and he was clunking a few different marks at different stages. Not like huge amounts of it, but enough to sort of be concerned, and he's really leaping well at it and getting it pretty high at a high point. So he is a watch. He impressed me a bit more today, or not today, it was yesterday. He impressed me a bit yesterday with his approach and the way he played. So I was pretty happy with him.
Okay. What other notes have you got? I mean, I wasn't down there, unfortunately. I had to go to work. But what else did you spy down on the track there? What took your fancy?
Yeah, the one's obvious. Like the one, like LDU, Colby, and Shees and Tom Powell. All these guys are just flying. They're looking
Usual
really
suspects.
Usual suspects. LDU is just an absolute jet. Like when he gets moving, he just moves out of traffic. Looks great. Cherry's looking exceptional, I really think, at this time of year. Just a couple, and Larky had a really, really good game as well. Just a few things of note that I'd really go to would be Finn O'Sullivan. Like, it's so noticeable that he stepped up a level for me. Like, there was this one beautiful play where he sort of gotten a clearance, span out of traffic, and got it to 50 metres and kicked for goal. He kicked a point at like half post height, but he's very capable of nailing those. Like, it was just one of those moments you look at him and you're like, oh, there is. And he's got that extra. Exactly. He's got that penetration on his kick. He just kicks it. I was talking to a couple of further north listeners, I think it was, and We were talking about it, and I'm like, he's just got that extra 10 meters on his kick that just gets over the packs. Like he's got that much more penetration, and it opens up the field a little bit more and opens up different corridors. He's I'm really excited to see what he offers this year. Hardiman offering a lot as well. I really am liking him on the other flank. He's got a really big boot and really big penetration. Seems to be stepping up in leadership a little bit more from what I've been hearing, and really happy with where he's at. And the Josh special I think I'd like to mention here at this point is he played half a game.
Here we go.
But CCJ.
Oh, yes.
CCJ looked really good. Like he only played half the game. Obviously, he's coming back off his injury, his first run. He went up a lot against Goad in that third quarter. Goad, like you can see the moments with Goad. Goad's still got a bit of development, but he's really greatly improved. But CCJ's, fresher at that stage as well. I'll give, there's a few things to obviously note with it, but he turned around that midfield by his presence there. He was rucking exceptionally well. He was getting clearances himself off those that he was knocking down. He became a midfielder when the ball hit the ground and causing a bit of, creating chain possessions as well. Like there's a lot to like there with him at the moment. And I think people who have written him off, I think it's a bit too early to write him off. There's a reason we kept him on our list. As I said, when we had the choice between him and Tickle, I'm like, CCJ does have a higher ceiling. There is something there. Whether he reaches it or not, I'm still not convinced on him. But you can see why they've kept him. There is something there. There's a player there. And in the fourth, when Cherry started to come and re-ruck again, he was competing exceptionally well. Like Cherry's obviously an all-Australian ruckman. Like we're not going to, he's not getting beaten by future all-Australian. He's not getting beaten by many. CCJ really held himself well and was creating different kinds of issues for Cherry. Goad still has like a little development. I'm really happy with where Goad's at. I think Goad, they moved him forward, and if he can start taking a couple more marks, it'll be very good. But worth to note. The other player as well, I'll just do a little bit of mention as well. Only played the second half was Goda. He did a couple of runs in the game where he's taking the ball from like out of the back line, run down the field and done that penetrating kick or hitting up a target. I'm feeling that he's getting that confidence back in his body. Let's just really keep everything crossed that body stays good for him, because, he's starting to look like, the last few times I've seen him on the field, he's like, it's been noted that he hasn't looked as good. I think he's starting to gain confidence now. And if he can get confidence in that body and start to actually show what he's capable of, he would be a massive inclusion to what our upside would be. He could be a really important part of our build. He's just a player that's got that much assets. I really, are hoping for him to look really good for it.
So when you were down there watching it, like we've heard about this new backline structure when playing back shoulder and that sort of stuff. Did you notice any of that down there? Did you see any difference in the way, starting with the defense? Like, did you notice that back shoulder type defending there, and even moving the ball forward? Have you noticed anything tactically that we might be trying, or different ways we're moving the footy?
To be honest, it's probably the sharpest I've seen us moving the ball. I'm going to probably, like, the defense-wise, like, there's a bit more accountability for the man, but like zoning and defending one-on-one tend to go a bit more hand-in-hand than people like to suggest it does. Like, there's room for both of them in the right situations. Like, when we defended zone exceptionally well, it can cause turnovers, but when you've got that pressure directly on the players, you've got difference. But what I would suggest is, the thing that I noticed the most is the speed and the cleanliness with what we're moving the ball. There was less handball. It was more get to the outside and then kicking down the line and hitting targets up a lot more than we have been. It was a very still day that, weather was good. It's probably been the best display of skills I've seen from us for the last few pre-seasons. Like the last, few years when I've gone to the preseason, I don't think I've seen us quite as sharp. So it feels like there's a bit of a different energy in the place. Like Colby's attack on the ball and kicking through, the aggression in tackling by all of them. As I said, Finn O'Sullivan just hits up targets. Sheasel is getting a bit more space now, but he's getting space partly. We're playing against ourselves, but he's getting that space because you've got you have to make a choice between LDU or Sheasel or Powell in those things, or Wardlaw at those stages. It was Parker, Kirch, and Foss in the midfield for the Leicester team for basically the entire game, and they were holding their own exceptionally, like really, really exceptionally well. So, and it just showed, like, because Kirch played on the same side as Hardiman and Daniel, which is obviously a point that we've sort of talked about a couple of times. But Kirch was running right through the middle the whole, like he played centre bounce and wing for the whole game. He didn't play off that half-back line. I suspect he'll play half-back when the season starts, but it was just an interesting thing of note. And he looked fantastic through there. Like, I think he gets a bit more license there and less exposed on the back end. So it's going to be an interesting one. I'm very excited. I think it was a very good display, very clean display. Not a lot of those dump kicks that we're so commonly seeing, where you get the ball and they dump, particularly out of the back line. The forward line, I'd like them to lower the eyes a little bit more, but they're still hitting up those targets a little bit better, and we're competing a little bit better.
At least putting it into space a little bit more, or putting it to the advantage side of a Larky or a Whitlock or a Trembath or whatever. Yeah,
exactly. And with Doveston was fairly productive, and JK was fairly productive. Banch got a heavy knock when he dropped back into the space where Chom was.
Saw Chom, yeah, that was in the little highlight reel they posted. That was a big hit. I watched that and went, wow, that's a big hit for, intra-club training.
I preferred if one of them didn't go there, but neither of those guys are going to take it back. I preferred if they didn't in Sid match thing, but and Banch ended up not playing out the rest of the game. He went down for that. But yeah, it's just thing. And Bailey Scott as well, like after I gave him a real roasting last time, he looked very, like him and Wardlaw, when the lesser team at that stage, they rotated around, but when the team that was struggling more, they were the ones that were really bringing him back into it and were working really hard. So Bailey Scott, obviously I'm not a huge rap on him at the moment, but like if he can come back into it, like I'm very happy to see him, succeed and do better. He's got he does have skills. Like he kicked a nice goal from outside.
We've seen 50. It, mate. And this is what we talked about last episode as well. Was are we writing players off too early? Are we writing off a CCJ, a Fisher? All these sort of guys. Are we just kicking them to the curb way too early when they might have something to offer for the season? And if that's not one of our top 10, 15 players on the list, it doesn't necessarily matter. Role players also matter, and being 100%. Able to plug holes around the ground. And those bottom 5 players, everyone will say, make your list. And if now Fishers and CCJs and Scotts and those sort of guys aren't making the team, that means the team's getting better, not they've maybe completely fallen off. It's as much us outgrowing them as maybe they have declined. So I think it's a positive thing. Before we finish up here, there's a couple of SSP train-on players currently getting talked about. Give us a little bit of insight into those before we finish up, because we've got obviously the Jackson Archer spot. That's the only one available. We obviously don't have one for Threadgold or anything because it's a shorter term injury, but they've got the one potential list spot that we can fill between these two players. Yeah,
I've got the names here. The first train on that was first announced was Zach Becker. He's from Sturt. He won the BNF there. He's 191 centimetre. He's a defender. He's got an absolutely booming kick, like really, really big, and he's fairly effective too with it. My understanding is, I think it's like 91% disposal efficiency, so he's obviously fairly effective from what I've read at least. More senior 22-year-olds. I think there's a lot of people are very happy that we've got him around that are sort of in the know around that one. I haven't seen as much of him personally. I've only seen a couple of highlight reels, and I mean the kick power is very significant. But it goes into that role again that we were sort of talking about with, particularly with Archer and Threadgold going down, that halfback role would be probably followed through. The other one that we got mentioned alongside was Tom Blams. He was a Frankston player last year, VFL. He won, I think, the equivalent of their BNF medal, which was fourth grill round Mitchell medal win.
Fantastic. Illustrious,
yes. He's a 181 centimetre defender as well. He plays everywhere apparently by the sound of him, but he's got the all VFL side at halfback. So yet again, it looks like we're going to that kind of role as well. He's only, what else? I think he was 21. I think he was a little bit older. He finished in 2021. So, probably a bit older, probably 23, 24. So both halfbacks, both, looking at being a bit more aggressive and can defend a bit better. I probably like the Sturt prospect a little bit better just with the size and the ability to defend probably a little bit better, but and the booming kick I think is something that we tend to lack, is a bit of penetration. Riley does that really well off the halfback, but with like Almac probably is the other one in that role. So it's just curious to watch that one. But I'm happy with both ones that we've got. We can get one of them really and sign on. I think we're probably likely to sign one just given our cluster injuries in that space. let's watch what we do. It's very interesting. And I think both of, like, I mean, particularly the Sturt guy. I mean, I think I've read somewhere the last like 10 VFL best and fairest winners essentially have managed to make it onto AFL lists and be productive. So there is something to be said there.
Well, he's an absolute lock. It's interesting. I mean, obviously that'll take away our potential mid-season draft pick selection if we do fill that last list spot. So I wonder if one of them impresses enough, maybe they'll get a spot. If not, we picked up Trembath and a bench, and we've got some players out of that mid-season draft. So, yeah, it's interesting to see which way they'll go. But look, we'll finish it up there. We're going to keep this video shorter and sweeter, which is, what we do around here at Further North, guys. So thank you for tuning in. Training notes. Joel's going to be down there all the time, I hope. Any day you've got work, Joel, and there's training, just don't go to work, mate. We need this sort of insight. I need to pay my mortgage off, but I'm sure you've got money to burn, so you'll be fine.
Just looking at my Lego collection in the back, it's like...
Yeah, well, clearly there's not enough money. I've got a black pearl sitting around here somewhere, and that costs me a little bit too much money, but we won't tell my partner about that. Anyway, subscribe on YouTube. We're going to keep doing these training updates and these shorter type videos just for you to consume on the car, in the train or something like that, or if you're slacking off at work, which is completely fine as well. So subscribe, put your thoughts down below on everything we've talked about. Give the video a like because it does help me. And we will see you guys very, very soon. Joel, thank you for coming back on.
Thanks for having me, Josh.